Greetings to each and every one of you, and I thank you very much for taking this opportunity to watch this video. I'm Olani Moloi and I live in South Africa, and I would like to say if you may be interested in watching my videos even in the future, I would like to encourage you to hit that subscribe button, that like button, so that the YouTube algorithm may recommend my videos to you every time I upload. In this video, I just want to talk about the problem that is happening in South Africa. It's actually a disease. This disease has spread to every corner of South Africa. I know that other provinces may not experience this as much as other provinces are experiencing it. It's understandable because some people might say, no, where I'm living, we don't have a problem. I understand that. But in many places, many people may be familiar with this disease. And there was a time when people would be ashamed of this disease. Many people would run away from this disease. But it's like these days, people are proud. They are also encouraging other people to have the very same disease. I'm sure right now you are wondering, or you are asking yourself, what kind of a disease am I talking about? I'm actually talking about corruption here in South Africa. Corruption here in South Africa is no longer like maybe just a problem, but it's now like a disease. In other words, it's spreading like a disease. And many people are proud of it. I'm not just talking about the corruption of high officials, such as politicians, government leaders, and so forth and so forth. We are aware of that. And the mainstream media is always telling us about that. But I'm talking about what we are experiencing daily as the citizens of South Africa, or people who are living in South Africa. We experience this corruption every day because it's taking place everywhere we go. It can be in schools, it can be in hospitals, clinics, police stations, traffic departments, home affairs, labor department, everywhere. This corruption, we can talk about municipalities. This corruption is everywhere. And again, we can also talk about the corruption that is happening in private sectors. However, private sector is very good when it comes to hiding their evil activities, their corruption, because they are also taking advantage of the corrupt government, because they know that no one is holding them accountable. They can do as they please. So that is why it's easy for them to run away. It's easy for them not to be found, because right now here in South Africa, there are people who are preaching that private sector is better than public sector. But according to my perception, they are the same, because there's a huge corruption happening in private sector. It's just that they are good when it comes to hiding it. But in this video, I want to be specific when it comes to public sector or government sector, because this is what we experience every day, because we can say government is almost everywhere. That is why it's called public sector. In other words, everyone is affected. No matter you like it or not, corruption is almost everywhere. Right now, I don't want to focus on high officials. I just want to focus on like every department. In other words, the things that people are experiencing daily, irregardless of whether you like it or not. As I've said, that it can be in clinics, police stations, various departments. In other words, corruption is too much. And again, when it comes to government sector, there are many things that you should get for free, but at the end of the day, you end up paying for them because of corruption. Even if maybe you have to pay for them, And we know that when it comes to government, they have the lowest fees ever, because at the end of the day, they want to make sure that they accommodate everyone. And we would like to thank the South African government for that. That when it comes to the fees, maybe we can talk about the fees in traffic department, the fees in court, everywhere, almost everywhere. The fees are very low because every person has to be accommodated, even those who cannot afford. So that's what we appreciate. But we don't appreciate people who are working there, because they have added extra fees that are not even legitimate. For an example, I can talk about traffic department. Sometimes for an example, if you are looking for a driver's license in South Africa, you know for a fact that you are going to fail. Even before you can start, you know that when you go for a test for a driver's license, you are going to fail. No matter how much you have prepared, no matter what time you took to prepare yourself, you know very well that at the end of the day, you are going to fail. That's horrible. That's painful. That's corruption on another level. Just imagine the things that you have to do. For an example, you have to go to a driving school. You have to pay for this driving school because it's private. And the amount that you need to pay here is just a bit huge. But when it comes to traffic department, the fees, bookings, and all these other things, they are not that much. It's not that bad, because as I've said, that they have to make sure that everyone is accommodated at the end of the day. But the problem is when you go for a test, you have to know that you have already failed. You have already failed, unless if you have to prepare another amount of money, not just a small amount, a huge amount of money. These officials, they are going to make sure that they fail you if you don't give them that money. And I don't know if the government of South Africa is doing anything with this, or they are doing something with this, because this thing has been going on for years. Because just imagine, maybe your background is not good, you're not financially okay, and you need a job, and the job that you're looking for requires a driver's license, and now you have to go through this procedure of getting your driver's license. And then at the end of the day, they keep on failing you. They keep on failing you. Then you have to go back to the driving school. You have to keep on paying. Then at the same time, those people, they keep on failing you. They will try by all means to make sure that they find one fault. As long as you won't give them anything, you are going to fail. In most cases, I'm not saying it's happening everywhere, but 99% of the times, this is what is happening. In other words, you have to be somebody. You have to be somebody for them not to charge you something, to ask for a cold drink. And that cold drink is a bribe. Sometimes they expect huge amounts. You have to. So this is not just a disease again, it's a curse. It's like we are cursed because we are still complaining about oppression. We come from oppression. We are still under slavery in different ways. And now we oppress one another. Just because I work in a traffic department, then I start taking advantage of other people. That's not good. That's not cool. I want to make extra money through corruption, but at the same time, we still complain about the corruption that is done by high officials. This is not good at all. So many people may attest to this, because is true. It's also happening. We can talk about police officers and traffic officers. If they stop you, they stop your car or whatever. In other words, it's not like they are doing their job. They are looking for a fault. But if they find a fault, they don't say, here is a ticket. Or maybe come with us to the police station. They are not saying that. They will even go to the extent of begging you to give them something. This is a case. This is a case. A traffic officer or a police officer begging you to give them a bribe. Even if you say, okay, no problem. I'm ready to go to jail. I'm ready to face the consequences. I made a mistake. No, they still want to argue that. They want you to pay them something. This is completely bad. So it's happening almost everywhere in South Africa. And I don't know if the government is doing something about this, because sometimes you can see a group of police officers and you think that these people are doing their job. No, they are not doing their job. In some instances, or in most instances, they are looking for a problem. Even if there's no problem, maybe in your car, there's no problem with you, they will try to create one problem and then they just scare you. But at the end of the day, if you are like, okay, you can take me, then they become worried. Then you ask yourself, why? It's because they want you to give them something. And if we act like this disease will spread even to the upcoming generation, to those who are growing right now. I'm telling you, you can even go to the clinics. If you go to the clinics here in South Africa, you will find a long queue. A long queue. And it doesn't move. If you want to be in front, you have to pay. You have to pay. As long as you don't pay, it might take them a week maybe to save you. You'll have to keep on coming every day without getting any assistance. In other words, you have to give them something. Public clinics here in South Africa are for free, but you have to end up paying. We can go to Home Affairs. Long queues. Their processes are also complicated. You have to pay. In other words, even if you can pay the fees that are required by the government, that are legally required, but they still want you to pay more. They still want you to pay extra so that they can assist you. And we are talking about people who are earning a salary from the government, but they still want you to pay extra, to give them favors, to do all sorts of things. In other words, we don't want to work without like asking a bribe from the people. And if you don't have that money, you will get the poorest service ever in these departments. We can talk about labor department. We can talk about these departments in South Africa. And the people who are working there are our brothers and sisters. The people we live with in our societies, in our communities. But they are the very same people who demand bribes from us. They are corrupt. I know people complain about corruption in other places, in other countries. But here in South Africa, this one is on another level. The corruption here in South Africa is on another level, because each and every department, if you ask them to say, okay, I paid what the department requires, can I get my service? Then they will just freeze and look at you into your eyes and say, but you have to buy us a cold drink so that we can facilitate the process. That cold drink, you have to pay money. This is a problem. In schools, it's the same thing. Everywhere is the same thing. So these days we are not even we are even afraid to go to government departments, because we know that sometimes they will require you, sometimes they will ask you to give them something before they can service you. This is what is happening. Corruption is too much. We can talk about police stations. You can go there and open a case. No one will attend to it. These dockets will keep on missing. Missing docket. The corruption is real. So right now, people are even afraid to open cases in South Africa because they no longer trust the police. Because the police will ask you, who is the suspect? Who do you think is the suspect in this case? Then the moment you mention the name, they'll go to that person and tell them and tell him or her that it's you who told them about his or her corruption. This is bad. This is bad. That is why whistleblowers here in South Africa are not safe. That is why many of them, or some of them, have been killed. Because they are not safe. Because if you are going to tell a secret, or if you are going to confess to a police officer, you expect the police officer to regard that information as confidential as possible, but not in many of these departments. In other words, police departments. It's a mess. It's a mess. You go to municipalities, it's a mess. You have to pay, even for them just to fix their errors, the mistakes that they might have made in your municipal bill or something like that. You have to pay for that, so that they can facilitate the process, so that they can help you. You have to give them something. And the most painful thing, these are the people we live with. These are the people we call our brothers and sisters. But they do this to us. Corruption right now is everywhere. So I think if you are living in South Africa, you have to know that we are living in a chaos. We are living in a chaos, man. This is the chaos, man, whereby we are living under slavery, but will still enslave one another. I don't know what you think, but this is too much. There's no way the society can grow. There's no way people can have integrity, because we are also spreading this disease to those who are still growing, and they are going to take it. In other words, they are going to emulate what we are doing, because corruption is in our bones, is in our blood, and it's going to be the very same thing with them as well. That's bad.